Is there a cure for Lyme disease? This is part of the Lyme education that we're giving to people that have Lyme disease or may be affected by Lyme disease. Check it out. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jason West, and this is our Lyme series. It's designed to give you information and empowerment that if you have Lyme or you know someone that has Lyme, that you can be better educated. One, if you're a patient, and two, if you're part of the inner circle, because Lyme disease can be a really, really lonely, frustrating disease. Because what happens is people get these unusual symptoms. No one has the same symptoms, and what happens is their neighbor, their friend, their doctor, their naturopath, their chiropractor, their cousin will start telling them different things that they've heard, or they'll go on the internet, and what happens is they'll find a treatment that seemed to work really well for someone, and then it didn't work for someone else. And so the internet is a wonderful place to get information and a terrible place to get information. And so the purpose of this video is to get information from someone that's been in the trenches, that's been treating Lyme disease for over 15 years. And it's not just me saying it. We have some wonderful patient outcomes that I'll tell you about here in the video. Now, one of the questions that I get asked all of the time, is there a cure for Lyme disease? And the answer is, we need to talk about what you mean by the word cure. Do I think it's possible that you can be asymptomatic? Yes. Do I think it's possible that you can be normal? Yes. Do I think that Lyme disease is ever going to get out of your system? No. I don't think that that's possible. And here's the analogy I like to give when people ask me, is there a cure for Lyme disease? The answer is, it's kind of like the canker sore. Now, what happens with canker sores is caused by the herpes simplex virus 1. We estimate that nearly everybody has been exposed to the canker sore virus, but not everybody gets the canker sores. Now, some people get it because they get it in the sun, or they'll have a hormonal change, or they'll get really stressed, or they'll eat something that they're allergic to, and bam, they have a great big blow up of canker sores. Does that mean that people that don't have canker sores don't have the virus? No, it means their immune system is handling the virus. And that's what we have to talk about when we talk about the cure for Lyme disease. Is there a cure? And the answer is, if we put everything in place, the biomechanics, the biochemistry, the mind-body healing, I do think you can have a normal life. I don't believe Lyme disease is a death sentence, but I do think that there are some factors that you have to take into account. So the first one is this. How long have you had the disease, and how much organ damage has occurred? Because sometimes you can help people to get their health back, their immune system working, but there's scar tissue that's occurred from a chronic residual infection of the Lyme disease in the nerves or in the muscles. You can't get people to 100%. I do believe you can get the disease to stop progressing. Now, when we talk about Lyme disease, remember, it's a multifactorial and multi-organ system involvement condition. You put 40 people in the room, they're going to have 40 different conditions or 40 different presentations. It seems like wherever you have weak conditions or weak organ system, that's where the disease goes. And so some people have stomach problems, some people have headaches, some people have sleeping problems, some people have joint problems and skin problems. And Lyme really likes nerves, and so you get a lot of nerve problems, peripheral neuropathy. I think it's a factor in multiple sclerosis. It's a factor in Lou Gehrig's disease. I think it's a factor in Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And there's some really neat studies out there that shows that chronic infection can cause neuropsychiatric, neurobehavioral, fatigue, autoimmune disorders, because what happens is we get a chronic inflammatory response in the organ or in the tissue. The immune system comes in. It's not quite strong enough to get rid of the problem, so it caused a chronic inflammatory problem, and now we have autoimmune problem, or we have polymyalgia rheumatica, we have autoimmune, we have chronic fatigue syndrome, all of those things because the immune system isn't quite strong enough. An antibiotic approach, I recognize that there are some people that get very good outcomes with the antibiotic approach. I think a better approach is long-term immune system stimulation and putting the building blocks in so that the body can repair. So to summarize, Lyme is a lonely disease. There's a lot of different symptoms and presentations. When we talk about cure, I do think that you can have a decrease in symptoms. I think it's possible for people to have a totally normal life. It's not a death sentence. There's a lot of factors involved in that, but you're always going to have Lyme in your system. Now, one of the reasons why I say that is something called the retained antigen theory. And the retained antigen theory is something that I learned about 25 years ago in my undergrad work that basically says that your body has a tendency to hold on to the microorganism, I think in the lymphatic tissue, and what happens is we need to train the immune system that if we come into the contact with that outside in the circulation and the organ tissues, that we can kill that offending organism. Now, it's a hypothesis in the immune world. I do think there's some validity and some considerations for that. I do think it's possible for you to get over or get rid of the symptoms of Lyme and then in the future have some type of trauma, emotional stress, and you can have a flare-up. So if you've been diagnosed with Lyme or you think that you have Lyme, it's really a wake-up call to live your life as healthy as possible, to make sure that you can manage stress as best possible. There's no way to get rid of stress. Stress isn't a disease, but man, it sure has a huge flare-up or a huge contributing factor for Lyme flare-ups and symptom flare-ups. And then the biggest thing is to make sure that we get a good Zen spot where we have good emotions, good relationships, good health, good immune system. That's the way to take care of chronic disease, whether it's Lyme, whether it's autoimmune disorders, whether it's cancer, whether it is arthritis. All of those steps that you can do for Lyme disease work with other chronic disease conditions. I can't wait to share with you some of the really neat patient outcomes that we have, not only on this channel, but our blog at Daily Dose Vitamin H, www.dailydosevitaminh.com. And this is Dr. Jason West. We'll see you on the next video.